James Gunn and Peter Safran announced Chapter 1 on their DC universe, so let's talk about that. On the 31st of January, Gunn released a video announcing his plans for the future of DC, and it looks like it's going down a different route and structure when compared to Snyder's previous vision and what the MCU is doing. In total, we got 10 projects, 5 films and 5 shows. I was expecting a couple of these that were announced, but others definitely caught me by surprise. So the first project is Superman Legacy. The first project of Gunn's universe will introduce the rebooted Superman in, Superman Legacy. It looks like it will follow a similar route to how Matt Reeves went with the Batman, where it's not quite an origin story, and instead it will be focusing on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. And it will be released on July 11th in 2025, so hopefully we get a Jimmy Olsen that doesn't die in the desert after just meeting him, Snyder, and that we get a Lex Luthor which closely resembles the one from the DCAU, because that's the best Lex by far.
I warn you one final time. Only a 12th level intellect has the slightest hope of surviving what you are about to experience.
Then I'm overqualified.
The Authority, quite the surprise. Originally from Wildstorm, they later joined DC after the company became defunct. The team is aimed at a more mature audience, similar to The Boys, but the characters are heroes, so they're just a little morally ambiguous. If Gunn is aiming to get the new DCU to stand out compared to the MCU, this would definitely do the trick, as Marvel doesn't seem to want to stray from their light-hearted tone, with Doctor Strange and Thor Love and Thunder making that quite apparent, especially when Thor dealt with a lot of heavy issues.
But what's important is we are on our way to you right now, right? And take care of each other. You're a team now. Team kids in a cage. Again.
The characters that we saw in the announcement show Apollo and Midnight, who act as effectively counterparts to Batman and Superman. One thing to note that Apollo and Midnight are a couple in the comics. I can see this either developing over time, similar to Quill and Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy, or there'll be a couple straight off the bat, but either way, I look forward to seeing how these characters show up on the big screen. Swift is effectively Hawkwoman. Jenny Sparks is the team's leader, and she possesses powers based in electricity. Doctor, who is a bit of an out there Doctor Strange, but he can reincarnate, with each incarnation becoming stronger than the last, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get multiple incarnations of this character. Engineer, she can shapeshift and modify her body to survive any situation, including the vacuum of space. And lastly, Jack Hawksmoor, who gains heightened abilities when in an urban environment. The Martian Manhunter was also a part of this team when under the banner of Stormwatch in the New 52 line of comics, but I'd say this addition to the team is unlikely, and if we're going to get Martian Manhunter, it's probably going to be in a different project entirely, but who knows, maybe. The next film will be Brave and the Bold. This is the third film project, and it will introduce us to the new Batman of this universe, as well as Damian Wayne's version of Robin, and will be based off of Grant Morrison's comic of the series that first introduced the Robin to readers. Gunn also stated that this will be the start of the Bat family, suggesting that more members will be introduced later down the road. However, this is interesting as Damian is the fourth member of the Bat family to take up the role of Robin, so either Gunn is making Damian the first and the others will be brought in later on, or Dick, Barbara, Jason and Tim and all the other sidekicks already exist in this universe but have already spent their time with Batman, so they're all their own heroes in their own right. Which, to be fair, does make sense as it prevents repetition later on, introducing a Robin every 3 years or so. So we'll have to see how this one goes, but I'm looking forward to a Batman and Robin film because, well, we know what happened with the last one. The second surprise from Gunn was the Supergirl film. This can be titled Woman of Tomorrow. We're taking inspiration from Tom King's story on Supergirl, which places her on a chunk of Krypton after the planet fell. I think this is definitely the right move for introducing the character in this new universe, as it will keep her separate from Clark and prevent her from being in his shadow, as usually when she's introduced into somewhere he takes her up as a mentor, and yeah, you basically just see two super characters as sort of basically the same thing. As of February 2023, it's unknown who will actually be playing this character. It could still be Sasha Cale, who's playing the version of Kara in the Flash film that's coming out this year, but it's likely they'll probably get a new actress altogether to play this role. But either way, this is going to be set in space, so it's a galactic based film, and we could be getting a whole bunch of characters because of that. The last film on the slate is Swamp Thing. This is a darker, more horror-like film in tone and will be a great fit for the character, especially with the information that the stories by Alan Moore will be an inspiration on how the character will be in this new universe. And after the short-lived show from Amazon, Swamp Thing definitely deserves to be in the spotlight. And with his tendency to work alongside magic users such as Zatanna, could this mean that there could be a foundation being laid for the members of the Justice League Dark? To be honest, only Gunn and Safran really know, but it will be interesting to find out where these go. And before Gunn and Safran took over DC, there was a Zatanna film in the works. Now, for the television projects for HBO Max, the first show on this list is Creature Commandos. It will be the first animated project for the DCU and will be written by James Gunn and comprise of 7 total episodes, so a nice little short and sweet show. In the comics, Creature Commandos is a super soldier program that converts soldiers to monsters, and with Rick Flag Sr. being shown in the promotional image, it is likely that this part of the team's origins will stay the same, though we all know what happened to Rick Flag Jr. in the last Suicide Squad film, so there could be some tension between Sr. and Waller. Other characters shown include Frankenstein's monster, Lady Frankenstein, I want to say Dr. Phosphorus, but I'm unsure at the moment, the Mermaid, and possibly G.I. Robot. Weasel is also making a return, which the last we saw of him was when he appeared running off from the beach on the Suicide Squad post-credit scene, so it looks like Waller has been able to recapture him. And it also makes Weasel and Waller the only 2 characters that are definitely confirmed to be coming back to this new universe. And speaking of Waller, she's getting her own show and looks like she'll be facing the consequences of going off book, with Crystal Henry from the Watchmen series and Jeremy Carver, who was heavily involved in the Supernatural show, to be the creators behind the project. There's not much that's known about this show so far, other than the fact that she's going to be in prison. So it's a possibility that Mr. Terrific will make his debut, in which Gunn did tease him a while ago. And Waller is definitely going to need as much help as she can, and who else is smart enough than Mr. Terrific. Now, Booster Gold is the next show. This was a very welcome sight to me and the one I'm most interested in. Since the Blue Beetle film was announced, I was hoping that Booster Gold would surface at some point, but I never thought it'd be this early, especially with the whole reset of the universe. Booster comes from the 25th century and steals his tech from a hero museum, and he travels back in time with his robot buddy Skeets to become a superhero. Despite his egotistical methods to become a hero, Booster has been a key player in the past, even leading the Justice League International team. So without sounding cliche, Booster has a heart of gold. And it will be good to see his transition from fame seeker to hero who will do anything to save a life. This series also has the potential to lay the groundwork for future projects. The ring that Booster steals is a Legion of Superheroes ring, which grants him the ability to fly. The Legion are a hero team from the future, with both Superman and Supergirl having history with them, and because we're getting 2 projects, including those characters as well, hopefully we're seeing the Legion in the future. Blue Beetle, the tech-cord version of the character, he couldn't get the Scarab to work, but Jaime Reyes did, and that's who's going to be the character in the Blue Beetle film. But because of that, could we be seeing a Ted Cord and also a Rip Hunter because of the time travel aspects of Booster's character? And those of you that watch the CW Legends of Tomorrow show will know who Rip Hunter is and how good of a character he can be. And we finally get a live action Green Lantern project since that one. It will be focused on both Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan as they uncover a dark mystery that will be key to the issues faced in DCU's first chapter. This mystery will likely not be the anti-life equation, so that it can differentiate itself from the Snyderverse. My best guess would be the white light, which could provide the ability to introduce multiple cores from across the spectrum. However, this would be a bit much for a first season. Gunn also mentioned that other lanterns will be shown off in the series. My most wanted appearances, Kilowog of course, and why not Chip? The final project announced for Gods and Monsters is Paradise Lost. This is described as a Game of Thrones, but for DC. Very interesting way of describing a a show for the Amazons, but it will introduce the new versions of the Amazons and Themyscira. I know I've used this word a lot in this video, but it is another project that sounds quite interesting, and I believe that Diana's birth could be the finale, however, you know, but this way each member of the Trinity will have their own story or background of a story in chapter 1. So overall, it looks like Gunn and Safran are trying to cover all bases for the types of audiences that they're trying to bring to this new DCU. They've got something for sci-fi lovers with Supergirl and Lanterns. Game of Thrones audience should like Paradise Lost. There's more for Batman and Superman fans, as well as fans of The Boys with The Authority. Animation for people who like things such as Invincible. Video games are also meant to play a part in this new universe. I think this is definitely a bold move, but if it pays off, it's going to pay off quite well for, well, both DC fans and Gunn. And it should also be noted that any project outside the main DCU continuity will be given an Elseworlds labelling. This is similar to projects in the comics in the past. Batman had a lantern ring, Gotham by Gaslight, that was an Elseworlds. But for current projects, the Batman 2 and Joker 2 being the most notable projects at this time. It's also unclear whether Shazam 2, Aquaman 2 and the Blue Beetle film will be held within this new universe, or if they will be the last stories told in the DC Extended Universe. But I do think an Elseworlds project option is the right way to go. This way, the lesser known animated universe will still get projects, and it will mean that more creative and out there projects, like the most recently announced Batman the Doom that came to Gotham, can still be created. And it is also another way that differentiates DC from Marvel, because Sony and Disney at the moment aren't really focusing on standalone projects, instead focusing on creating their own connected universes. And that is everything that has been provided to us at this time. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. And Let's Talk About That will become a new series on the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and see you all next time.